Good morning and happy Funday Monday after Sunday Funday. What a concept. Keep it rolling. Hope everybody's doing well. I know there's a lot of Arctic weather going on, and it is what it is. Just deal with it. Stay warm, protect yourself, insulate with food, with clothing, with heat. And do all those things that the tools allow you to do to sustain higher quality life force energy. So, I was reading over a message this morning from someone I know, and it was in response to another message they had sent. And in that message, it was saying things like, my kids are kind of awake. They say things to me. My spouse isn't so much. So then the newer response was, well, what I meant was my spouse isn't awake yet. When a friend passed, that friend came to visit during a dream state. So what that person is saying to me in the message is, the spouse is awake, but maybe in fear of not really understanding what it's all about, so they shut it down. And also when things come into our dream states, that's the time that we can be hyper vigilant in disagreeing with all of it by discarding it because we think it's distorted, that it has no validity. It's in our dream state, so therefore it's not real, it's not tangible, it's not in our 3D grasp of understanding. So we have a tendency to be more critical of it, and we don't give it the merit that it deserves. So my thought for this person leaving me the message is, we all get it one way or the other, even if we live our 3D life in denial that we're semi-awakened, or we are broadening our acceptance of certain things, but yet we may not live them ourselves or appear to others like we're living them. Like maybe a spouse could be more awake and living those experiences, and then their partner, they feel, is more dense or shut down. And so this message was, I would love to come to one of my workshops when they're created or something else, but I don't think my spouse is awake enough to accept the fact that I might take off for this spiritual journey, so to speak. And my response to that is, you've got to live for you. You've got to live for you in the heart center and develop all these things and accent them through your desire to learn and to study and to go places and spaces, and to bring more of that energy to you, through you, for you, but also for those who are around you, surrounding you in your demographics, because everything happens through osmosis. We resonate what it is that we're vibrating, good, bad, or indifferent. It's how you know when you're in a really pissy mood and you walk in the door, next thing you know, all hell breaks loose. And sometimes you can walk in the door in what you think is a positive, happy mood, and all hell breaks loose because there's resistance to your vibration. And sometimes it's a lesson on how long can you hold that vibration while you're getting all the distractions to pluck you out of that note, that tune, that vibrational chord. So everything's a life lesson. Everything is a life lesson. And we are here to be true to who we are. Now, it brought up memories of me and how I was able to really work with a spouse who I didn't really think was awake. So in 95, 96, I was being called to go to massage school. It was ringing my bell because I had been on the table and it had been so helpful and instrumental to reducing my pain, but it also opened up and triggered so many emotional memories and possible traumas within myself. And at that time, there was no coaches. There was no understanding of what was happening. I had to sort through it on my own. Because of that, that's why I became what I've become, so that I can be there for others to help them sort through. So anyway, I told my spouse that I wanted to go to massage school, and he thought that was absolutely a horrible thing for his wife to become. And at that time, most people practice out of their home, and he wasn't going to have people coming in and out of his house naked. And I got that, and I had no intention of doing that. But I stuck to my inner resolve, and I just said, I cannot explain this to you, but I'm being called, and I'm going to be going. And he resolved, totally resolved. He resisted a little bit, and I could have given permission to all of that, but I didn't, because there was a stronger innate calling. And sure enough, almost finishing massage school, Time magazine came out with it being one of the most therapeutic holistic health things that you could do. It was coming up in the credibility world. And I never worked out of my home. I opened a space in a medical center and hired other therapists to work with me. And so then when I went on to learn more energy work, then fast forward a number of years, I wanted to leave on a vision quest. And so I was taking pre-classes for that. And he's like, what are you doing? So he would purposely come home late, knowing he needed to babysit and I needed to get out the door. So he was hoping that I would get pissed, fight with him, throw up my hands, and maybe not go. But I refused to allow his behavior to dictate how my frequency was going to be as I left the house, left the kids, and needed to go to these pre-vision classes. And then as I'm leaving to go on this vision quest that I had prepared so much for and kept quiet, never really discussed a lot of it, a hurricane had come through and blown out all the power here in DC, which is unusual. And so I almost, this close, didn't go. But I did, and I was gone for a week. And they had to deal with no power and it going back on, and school and life and so on, because I was somewhere in a vision quest with no phone. And that was in 2003, I think. And I think we had flip phones back then. Maybe, I don't even remember at this point. So here's my point of all this. When you're being called, innately called to do something, you've got to trust that innate calling will resonate through osmosis onto others. And you don't have to have permission to do and be who you are. The stronger you stay in those convictions, the more osmosis is going to be shared. It's going to resonate through it, because that person will wind up only having respect for who you are, because you would never stand in that person's way of excelling and expressing and being. You would be what? Dubious and supportive. Well, you expect it for yourself as well, because you're a living, breathing example to them and to your children that all things can come to be if you choose it so. Now, fast forward to 2010, my marriage had dissolved. It was done. And we had been carrying on for, I don't know, maybe 2 years, playing the role. And I knew innately that it had to end. And there was still some resistance on both ends to make that change, because it was going to create change, and other people in the house were going to be affected by that change. And I think that's why I stayed for longer than I should have, because Spirit was innately saying, trust us. You're going to be solo for a while. And this is no longer, you're at the byways. This relationship is done. It's been done. And we've created situations where now you have no choice but to accept the fact. So they did some hurtful things that had occurred that contributed to my decisions. But even over time, after being separated before divorce, that person even wanted to come back in and out of my life. And I knew innately that I wasn't allowed to let that happen, even though it was so easy to fall back to old patterns. So Spirit's going to guide you through your heart center in an unexplained way to make decisions and choices and to choose routes and pathways and go in and out of relationships between many different people, places, and things in order for you to learn lessons and gain experiences, and also to gain trust that you will walk through the valleys of darkness and find light. And everything and everyone will be okay. So I want you to take today and really work today with what it is that would make my heart feel more full, and how can I express that or work through that and be in that space, in that place of maybe not knowing, and find your driver's seat and find the dashboard and find tools and things that can help you understand and to resolve and dissolve and to bring any triggers of whatever it is that could be keeping you down. And then how can you adjust all those dials on that board? And then how can dials appear so that they can be tweaked? Because you're learning how to dialogue with the inner software that innately works the outer software, that then walks you through the exteriors of life. Okay? So much love. You're walking, living, breathing, loving columns of light. And we're shifting. And trust that spouses and other people are shifting too. They may not be in your world all the time now. Things may change. Dynamics may change. And you could be in the same space and place with all of these other beings, but energetically it will be vibrationally different. And if you go with your innate instincts, trust me, my friends, it will be for the highest good. And it could be better than you even imagined if you own your column of light and operate from that commandership. And don't worry about approval, disapproval, doubts, criticisms, looks, and it triggering places of hurt, places of being a victim, places of maybe not having control, other things. And if that's the case, guys, that's what I do. Make a session with me. I can help you find those tools. We can uncover the strengths you didn't realize you had innately. You don't need to go through it in the hard knocks I've gone through it. Because that's why Spirit has created so much for me to extend to all of you. All right? So embodimentofthesoul.com. Take a moment right now to hit that like button. Take a moment right now to share this video if you possibly can. Take a moment right now just to leave me a little comment and help the algorithms and to share the work that I do and the messages that they bring through for me to share with you. Because I love you and I know you love me. Have a great day. Bye-bye.